guys, welcome back. It has been a while since I did last post my first video, so here I am doing number 2. I originally was supposed to have my partner here recording this with me. However, what I'll be talking about is such a touchy subject still for him to this day. The second video will be about our eldest daughter who was in a car accident in March early this year. I'll be showing you raw footage and stuff like that, so yeah. So on 18th of March 2019, Alia, Laquan and I were in the living room watching Netflix and drawing. So Laquan had decided that he was going to go to the gym, had got ready and whatnot. He said goodbye to myself, he said goodbye to Alia, and he went out the door. Turns out she had somehow, we don't know, we can't remember, snuck out. I don't know what she was doing. I thought she was inside with Laquan still at this point. And Laquan thought she was with me at this point. Laquan turned on his car and then I instantly thought, where's Alia? And I said, Alia, and usually she would reply with, yeah, mummy, or yeah, and she didn't. It was quiet. I mean, at the time we were in a townhouse and the townhouse was small enough for you to see. If she wasn't in one place, she would have been in the other, but she was nowhere to be seen. When I had realized that Alia didn't reply to me and she was nowhere to be seen, I had thought, okay, maybe she's sitting on Laquan's lap while he's reversing as a joke. Turns out when I had opened the door, I yelled out to him, where's Alia? Because she wasn't sitting on his lap, and then he instantly was like, don't do this to me, don't say that, don't. I was a bit confused because I thought, okay, is this a joke? Because obviously you'd never believe the worst, and that is what had happened. Laquan instantly thought if she wasn't with me, she wasn't with you, then she's behind the car somehow. I don't know how or why he thought that, but he thought it and it was true. He immediately ran around the car and he found Alia laying there, hit to what we thought that she had already lost her life then, because she wasn't responding to Laquan or anything, and I couldn't see from where I was standing what had happened, and he kept yelling no, 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 and I was at that point was just so confused because all these emotions were running through and I'm like, surely it wasn't what you'd think, because you'd never, you know, think the worst would ever happen to you. And then Laquan was holding her and turned her around so that I could see her, and I remember her face just being purple and so swollen. I'm sorry, this is just so emotional. Her face was just completely different. Blood everywhere. She had grazings and open wounds down her leg, and she kept saying mummy. I wasn't even crying at this point because I was just shocked. I was about 20 something weeks pregnant at this time as well, so you could imagine the stress that you'd think it'd put on the pregnancy. However, Bub was still quite healthy. Everyone from the townhouses came out and on the street and came in to help. Laquan was sitting in like a shell position on the floor, like rolled up in a ball because he didn't know what to do. It's like, what the hell is the ambulance? Like, what the hell is the number for the ambulance? Because when you're in that much stress and when you're in a situation that's the worst, where literally your child is like basically almost dying right in front of you, everything in your mind just like gets wiped and you can't remember anything. Neighbor had gotten through, called the ambulance, and he's like, look, the ambulance is on their way. Nothing is worse than having your daughter in pain looking at you for help through her eyes, and you're so helpless because you don't know what to do. What was 5 minutes felt like 2 hours, and then that's when help finally came. Alia was still crying at this point, didn't want anyone. She was trying to fight the ambulance, trying to take the oxygen mask off her, and like that they had to cut her pajamas off so they can put stuff onto her chest and do what they had to do. I don't know. I had Laquan in the room not knowing what to do and shocked, and then I was worrying about him as well as worrying about my pregnancy, as well as worrying about my daughter. And I said to Con, I said, are you going to come with me in the ambulance? And then it was like we had to try work out everything then and there. Con was being questioned by police, and honestly it was just the worst situation you could be in, and I'd never wish it upon anyone else. I was just in tears in the ambulance, and the paramedics are trying to settle me down and just let me know Ali is actually responding. She can hear your voice and keep talking, because that's what's helping her stay calm. She was listening to my voice the whole time. So I kept talking to her and I said, Alia, it's okay, it's mummy, it's gonna be okay. Like I was saying stuff like that, and then I felt nothing but guilt. I felt nothing. Like I was like, why wasn't I watching her? How did she get out? How did this even happen when we're actually so careful? Like every little move was so careful. And then this one time, I guess you come to realize that toddlers are so fast. It sucks that it had to be that situation that I realized. When I had got to the hospital, we went up and literally there was so many doctors, nurses, everyone that you could imagine were at that door as we like ran in with Alia on the bed, and I was like, oh my god, this is so serious. And they took her in on a bed and they were observing her. They took her in to get an x-ray on her body to find out if there was like any broken spines, any fractures. By that time, Laquan was at the hospital. Laquan's family was at the hospital. My family was at the hospital. When he came back, he put us in a little room and sat us all down. The thing I kept thinking was, what if she has a disability? Like, you know, what if she has something that's lifelong, which unfortunately I wouldn't be able to control. And they came back and they said, you know, Alia has a few fractures that as she heals, they will heal too, and she, by the looks of it, doesn't have any lifelong threatening concerns. Her spine is fine. They said that she had a small fracture at the bottom of her skull that too, as she heals, will heal well also. I think from there we only heard good news. She went into ICU for 4 days, and they wheeled her up there, and she was just laying there, and it was like she was just lifeless, to be honest. She had cords all through her hand, she had bandages, she had a catheter in, she was asleep, she couldn't talk. She was moving her mouth and she was talking, but no voice was coming out. All you see was tears coming down, so you don't know, like, is she in pain? Like, all you can see is tears and her mouth move, but not hear any noise or anything like that. Ali had a gravel burn, or a friction burn as they call it, from just the top of her knee to all the way down to her foot, which is all healed except for the part that's like right, that crease where your foot is. So she does have a burn there, which is still healing to this day. It had been the longest, so if burns or anything like that don't heal within a particular time, it means that it's more likely to appear as a scar, in which that's what Alia will have at the top of her foot. Like, even to today, Laquan and I still think, why didn't we do this, or why did this happen, or how did it happen, like it's our faults, and you know, something like that. And when the therapist kept coming over to talk to us, and she kept saying, you know, you can't do that to yourself. Laquan had started cutting himself because of the whole accident, blaming himself. He has anxiety attacks till this day now. He calls me every time he's going somewhere to ask, you know, where's Alia, is she inside, stuff like that. He won't drive off unless he knows that she's with me and she's safe, or she's in my arms as we wave goodbye to him. Laquan has PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, as well as depression. So he's dealing with a lot himself right now, and a lot of it is triggered from the 18th of March, the day that Alia was hit. I mean, the way we think of it now is Alia walks away with a scar on her foot, a little scar on her foot, and nothing at all wrong with her. There's no brain damage, there's no disability, she can walk properly, she can still be the same kid that she was, and within a week from that accident, Alia was the same girl she was beforehand, and it's just so crazy. I think the third night when we were in hospital, that's when we heard the news, and another little girl had been hit by a car at a petrol station and had died. Just keep thinking, you know, like, that could have been Alia. Our 2-year-old now is with us to this day. Alia is just amazing. She's the same girl she was from beforehand, and you wouldn't even imagine what she'd been through. You know, it's just even made her tougher. Nothing absolutely hurts her now, nothing at all. It's crazy. We've got a tough cookie with us now, and Con and I are completely blessed, and even though we're dealing with what we're dealing with now with all the post-trauma and stuff like that, at the end of the day we've got our daughter here with us, and there's parents out there who don't. So yeah. Alia.
Wow.
Okay, cheese.
Wow.
Baby.
Cheese.
Cheese.
Sorry.
Sorry. What are you sorry for? Say hello. No. Say hi. Oh, jelly beans. Cheeky bum. Hey. Hey. He's a cheeky bum. Yay! Good girl. Go. Oh, careful.